For as long as there's been games, there have been pirates. People willing to steal from the very developers that want to entertain them. But beyond acknowledging the simple fact that game piracy is stealing, you should also realise that game developers are clever folk, capable of coming up with a number of ways to stop their games being shared illegally. I'm James from Games Radar, and these are 10 ingenious ways games beat the pirates. Batman Arkham Asylum. The Dark Knight, protector of innocence, whatever you call him, Batman glides through the prison that is Arkham Asylum. That is, unless you've pirated the game. In which case, Bruce Wayne can't be bothered to open up his cape to glide. He flaps like a gimpy pigeon and drops you unceremoniously onto your face. Pirated versions of the game are also subject to several nasty grappling hook glitches, where the reticule either shows up in the wrong place or doesn't bother to show up at all. Sure, you might be able to swing from gargoyle to gargoyle, but you might also swing through the boundary and into an eternity of nothingness. Prince of Persia. Sometimes the simplest solution to piracy is the most elegant, or, in the case of Prince of Persia, the most potent. When Jordan Mechner first created his Middle Eastern platformer back in 1989, he had little in the way of sophisticated technology to help him combat pirates. His solution was a room near the beginning of the game, filled to the brim with potions. Each potion is marked with a letter, and a message on the bottom of the screen lists off a word, line, and page indicating the location of a letter in the game's original manual. Enter the right letter, and your character drinks the potion and continues on his adventures. Enter the wrong letter, however, and he's poisoned, doomed to restart in an eternal loop until the player buys a legit copy. Or, downloads a PDF online. But that was something that was impossible to do in 1989, considering PDFs didn't exist until 1993. Mirror's Edge. In 2008, Electronic Arts released its parkour action platformer Mirror's Edge, and hidden within the game files is a particularly fiendish way to combat game thieves. Speed, as you probably know, is an overriding theme in Faith's life, and is essential in her job as a glorified bike messenger. But when that speed is taken from you, the game becomes basically unplayable, as pirates soon found out. In torrented versions of the game, Faith slows down to a walk before jump ramps. What's a runner who can't run? Sidewalk decoration. That's what. Earthbound. When it came to protecting its game from freeloaders, the developer of Earthbound took the thorough approach. For pirates, Earthbound's friendly overworld map exploration turns into a nightmarish slogfest. The game starts spawning a crap ton of enemies, increasing the normal encounter rate to the point where you have to stop every couple of steps on the screen in order to fight, and to make matters worse, the mobs you fight can also be randomly pulled from other sections of the game. And even if pirates did manage to wade through the unending sea of enemies to the end and get ready to face Gygus, the game will stop, flip the player the virtual bird, and delete the save file entirely, forcing them to restart from the beginning. Alan Wake. While some developers do their best to make game pirates miserable, the makers of Alan Wake have taken a different approach. The folks over at Remedy have openly admitted that game piracy is a problem that isn't going away, so they decided to embrace it. Instead of tossing in game-breaking glitches, Remedy added a simple fashion accessory that speaks volumes to those who don't buy the legit PC version of Alan Wake: a pirate's eye patch. Barry Wheeler will even wear two, one over each eye. Does this keep you from enjoying the game? Far from it. Remedy seems to welcome pirates of its games. The developer takes a bold step by letting the pirates know it's aware of their illegal activities, and hopes they'll enjoy the story so much that they'll buy legit copies of other Remedy games. Most likely this just makes people want to pirate the game more though, since Alan Wake looks pretty badass with a skull and crossbones over his eye. Crysis Warhead. When Crysis Warhead, the standalone expansion to Crysis, came out, only gamers with the beefiest of gaming rigs were able to even load the game. So the fact that anyone who could afford a top-end gaming PC would turn around and skimp on buying a game makes about as much sense as shooting chickens at your enemies instead of bullets. Which is exactly what happens in the pirated version of the game. If game pirates downloaded their copies of Warhead illegally, they will find themselves hampered by paltry ammunition as soon as they start level 2. Not only will any gun they use shoot chickens instead of bullets, the chickens come with natural bird-like physics and behaviour, meaning they'll bounce off enemies and run around all frazzled and irritated. Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2. Everyone knows Dark Souls is hardcore. However, for pirates, the game is positively demonic. This is because pirated versions of the game are infested with max-level mobs called Black Phantoms. so powerful they boast level 99 abilities and an unfathomable amount of hit points. When the sequel was released, Pirates of Dark Souls 2 also received a nasty surprise. They were visited by screamers, eerie projections that blast your eardrums with blood-curdling shrieks. This happens randomly, in menus, in the character select screen, and elsewhere in the game's levels, making it even more stressful to play, as if it wasn't bad enough already. Game Dev Tycoon. Pirates of Game Dev Tycoon definitely get a Lifetime Irony Achievement Award, and the game devs at Greenheart Games are eager to make sure they give out every one of those awards personally. You see, the developer released its own cracked version of the game and then tracked the progress of the pirated version through various torrent services. The cracked version runs much the same as legit copies, until a few hours into the game when players start getting small, passive-aggressive pop-ups that look like any other in-game message. Those messages let players know that pirates are downloading cracked versions of their in-game products, and thus their fictional game company is losing money. Budgets dwindle, and future games have a higher chance to be pirated, which ends up bankrupting the company. And then you lose. There's no way to win Game Dev Tycoon with a pirated version, but as the game itself is only around $8 or £7, it's really a crime not to buy it outright. Sims 4. Sims 4 continues the EA tradition of clever anti-piracy tricks. If you're familiar with any Sims title, you know that for the more private actions, taking a shower or spending some time on the porcelain throne, your little characters have all, or part of their bodies pixelated. If you're playing the pirated version of the game, however, this pixelation won't go away when they're done with their little potty break or singing a horrid rendition of All About That Bass. Instead, the pixelation spreads like a mold until your entire screen is one blurry mess. The game ends up looking like an artistic 8-bit version of Minecraft, only with a little more of this. The Secret of Monkey Island. Ron Gilbert, the creator of Monkey Island, relied on a physical anti-piracy device for The Secret of Monkey Island, which shipped in the box along with every copy of the game. Each copy came with a dialer pirate wheel made out of paper. Upon launching the game, you'd be presented with an image of a pirate and asked when they were hanged. Turning the wheel to match up the pirate face with the on-screen image would reveal a date, and your answer would unlock the game. Without this wheel, the game wouldn't launch, and you'd be stuck on the question screen for all of eternity. Of course, once the internet happened, things like this became obsolete, which is why we can't have nice things. These are but a few examples of the fiendish ways that developers have punished pirates of their games. If you know of any more, although we're not sure how you would, then let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more gaming news, reviews, previews and features right here on Games Radar Plus.